My parents told me I wasn't welcome at Christmas, and my brother called me a loser. I thought that was the worst part, until I found out what he was really doing with my money. I'd been looking forward to Christmas this year more than I had in a long time. For once, I wasn't rushing around at the last minute, scrambling to throw everything together. By the first week of December, I'd already picked out thoughtful presents for everyone: my parents, my brother Jacob, his wife Kelly, their kids. I even grabbed a few extra gifts, just in case there were surprise guests. For some reason, I just felt hopeful. Like maybe this year was finally going to feel right. So, imagine my shock when I showed up at my parents' house, both arms weighed down with bags of wrapped gifts, only to have my mom open the door and tell me flat out, "We don't want you here this year." At first, I thought she had to be joking. I actually laughed a little, waiting for the punchline. But then Jacob's voice came from behind her, sharp and smug. "This is no place for losers. You're really starting to wear on all of us." I froze. My dad was standing in the background, refusing to look me in the eye, pretending to be fascinated by literally anything else. My mom looked uncomfortable, but she didn't move aside. And Jacob, God, Jacob, looked like he was enjoying it. Smug, satisfied. The wave of emotions that hit me in that moment, confusion, humiliation, anger, was overwhelming. But somehow, I stayed calm. I just nodded, managed to say, "Fine. If that's how you feel," and turned back to my car. I sat there in the driveway, staring at the bags of gifts in the passenger seat. My heart was pounding, and something inside me just shifted. No place for losers? Tired of me? Where was this even coming from? And then it hit me. Jacob. Of course. Who else? But why? I'd done nothing but support him and his family for years. I'd covered school supplies for his kids, chipped in for their summer camps, even helped pay his mortgage when he was drowning. And now suddenly, I wasn't good enough to sit at the Christmas table? I couldn't leave it like that. I had to know why. So, I got out of the car, left the presents behind, and walked straight back to the door. My parents were whispering to each other, clearly not expecting me back. Jacob was sprawled on the couch, scrolling through his phone like nothing had happened. I didn't even bother knocking. "What's going on?" I asked, stepping inside. "Why am I not welcome? What did I do?" Jacob smirked without even looking up. "You really don't get it, do you? You've been slacking off. The kids barely got anything from you this year." I blinked at him. "What are you talking about? I've spent hundreds of dollars on presents for your kids. They've got more gifts in my car than anyone else here." Finally, he looked up at me. "Last year, you did more. This year? It's like you don't care. Honestly, it's embarrassing for us." I turned to my parents, waiting, hoping they'd step in, tell him he was out of line. But instead, my mom gave me this awkward little smile and said, "But you just bought a new car. You found money for that." For a second, I couldn't even form words. "The car's on credit," I finally managed. "And even if it wasn't, how does buying a car make me responsible for Jacob's kids? They're not my children." Jacob leaned back like this was all perfectly reasonable. "You're the one who makes the most money. Families help each other. You've always done that." I looked over at Kelly, sitting silently in the corner. She hadn't said a word, but her face was red, her eyes locked on her hands like she wanted to vanish. "So, let me get this straight," I asked, my voice sharper now. "Because I've been generous in the past, I'm obligated to keep doing it forever? And if I don't, I'm a loser?" Jacob shrugged. "If the shoe fits." That was it. That was the breaking point. I stepped back, shook my head, and said, "You know what? You're right. I don't belong here. Enjoy your Christmas." Then I turned to Jacob. "And good luck with those presents, because this loser is done financing your life." I walked out before anyone could respond. Drove home gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles went white. My mind was racing the whole way. Was I really the bad guy here? I'd given so much of myself for years, more than I ever should have. I always stepped in when Jacob struggled, always made sure his kids didn't go without. Rent when they were about to be evicted, daycare when they couldn't afford it, endless little loans that I never asked back. Every time, I said yes. Not because I had to, but because I cared. Because I didn't want his kids to suffer for his mistakes. But somewhere along the way, gratitude had morphed into entitlement. My kindness wasn't kindness anymore, it was an expectation. A duty. And now, here I was, labeled a loser for not doing enough. Sitting in my driveway that night, staring at those unopened bags of gifts, I felt sick. I had spent weeks carefully choosing every present, picturing the smiles on their faces. And instead, I got told I didn't belong. By the next morning, I knew what I had to do. I was done. No more bailing Jacob out, no more endless handouts disguised as family support. If his kids wanted the things I'd always provided, then Jacob could figure out how to give them himself. It wasn't an easy decision. Cutting him off meant risking not just my relationship with Jacob, but with his children, maybe even my parents. But I couldn't keep living like this, treated like a wallet instead of a brother. An ATM instead of a son. I was finished. After Christmas, I didn't reach out to anyone. And nobody reached out to me. Not my parents, not Jacob, not even Kelly. I told myself maybe they'd gotten the message, but deep down, I should have known Jacob wasn't the type to let things go. The silence dragged on through New Year's Eve. No calls, no texts. For the first time in years, I spent the holidays completely alone. Midnight came and went, and my phone never lit up. I won't lie, part of me almost caved. I almost picked it up, almost called. But every time I thought about it, I saw Jacob smirk, heard his voice spitting those words, "No place for losers." And I reminded myself, I'd been the one holding this family together for years. And that's how they treat me? Disposable? No. If they wanted distance, they were going to get it. By mid-January, though, I felt the shift. Out of nowhere, Kelly texted me. Just a single message, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I don't agree with what happened. Jacob won't hear it from me, but I thought you should know. I stared at my phone for a long time. On the one hand, it felt good that at least someone saw things for what they were. But on the other hand, where was that backbone when I was standing at the door being humiliated? Why now? In the end, I kept it short. I appreciate it, Kelly, but this isn't something I can just move on from. She didn't push it, and honestly, that was fine with me. Then, in early February, Jacob showed up at my house unannounced. I was in the middle of a work meeting when I heard the pounding on my door. I ignored it at first, but the knocking didn't stop. Finally, I opened it, and there he was, looking more frazzled than I'd ever seen him. "We need to talk," he said, barging in before I could even say no. I folded my arms. "What's this about?" He got straight to it. "You need to stop acting like this and start helping out again." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I couldn't believe he was serious. "Helping out? You mean paying for your life?" "I told you, I'm done." His eyes narrowed. "You're the one with the money. Do you know how hard it's been since you decided to act like this? The kids barely have what they need. Kelly's trying to hold things together, but we can't do it without you." I stared at him, stunned. "Are you even listening to yourself? You're a grown man, Jacob. You've got a wife, children. If you need more money, go earn it. It's not my job to fix your life. You've always helped before," he snapped. "Why are you being so selfish now?" That one word lit me up. "Selfish?" I shot back. "You want to talk about selfish? Let's talk about how you lied to mom and dad about me, turned them against me, banned me from Christmas because I didn't spend enough on your kids, and now you've got the nerve to come here asking for more? That's selfish." He opened his mouth to argue, but I cut him off, holding up a hand. "We're done. I'm not giving you another dime. Don't come back until you figure out how to be an adult." He glared at me for a long moment, then stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I thought that was the end of it. Maybe he'd go cry to my parents, but eventually, he'd realize I wasn't going to back down. I was wrong. 2 days later, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Normally, I would have let it go to voicemail, but something made me answer. "Hello, is this Michael?" a man asked. "Yeah, who's this?" "This is Mark Dawson. I'm a lawyer. I represent a client who has concerns about certain financial matters involving your family. Do you have a moment?" My stomach dropped. "A lawyer? What financial matters?" I asked. "I can't go into detail over the phone," he replied, all polite and measured. "But it involves financial contributions you've made to your brother Jacob and how those contributions may have been used. Would you be willing to meet at my office?" My head was spinning. Had Jacob taken out a loan in my name? Was he using my information for something shady? Or was this just some twisted guilt trip dressed up in legal jargon? "Who's your client?" I asked. There was a pause. "I'm afraid I can't disclose that right now. But I assure you, this isn't a lawsuit against you. It's more, an investigation." Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet. Curiosity gnawed at me, and I had this gut feeling it wasn't just Jacob being Jacob this time. The next day, I walked into Mark Dawson's office, and he didn't waste time. As soon as I sat down, he said, "The client I'm representing is Kelly." I blinked. "Kelly? Why would she need a lawyer?" Mark folded his hands. "She believes Jacob's been using the money you've given him inappropriately. She suspects he's been hiding money from both her and you." My stomach turned. "Hiding money? What do you mean?" He slid a folder across the desk. Inside, bank statements, receipts, even text screenshots. Based on what Kelly discovered, Jacob may have been funneling your contributions into a separate account. From there, it looks like he's been using the money for gambling, expensive restaurants, even hotel stays. I stared at the papers. Transfers from my account matched the times I'd helped him out. But then, withdrawals. Large sums, disappearing into another account. And from there? Gambling sites, fine dining, luxury charges. My voice was tight. "You're saying all those times I helped him with rent, bills, school fees, none of it actually went to his family?" Mark nodded. "It appears so." I muttered under my breath, shaking my head. "Unbelievable." Mark continued. "Kelly only found out recently. She stumbled across some statements Jacob left out. She didn't want to involve you at first, but given the situation, she thought you should know." I sat back, reeling. Jacob hadn't just been taking my money, he'd been playing me. Years of sacrifice, of bailing him out, also he could gamble it away. I didn't know if I felt angrier, more betrayed, or just plain stupid for not seeing it sooner. "Does she want me to do anything? Press charges?" I asked. Mark shook his head. "Not yet. Right now, she's focused on protecting herself and the children. But she thought it was important you knew, in case Jacob tries to manipulate you further." I let out a bitter laugh. "Oh, he's already tried. Showed up at my house demanding money just days ago." Mark gave me a knowing look. "That fits with what Kelly told me. Jacob may be in deeper trouble than even she realizes." I looked down at the folder again, fury burning under my skin. Part of me wanted to storm straight to Jacob's house and throw the evidence in his face. But I stopped myself. That's what he wanted, drama, a reaction, proof that he still had control. Instead, I asked, "So what's Kelly planning?" Mark hesitated. "She's weighing her options. If Jacob doesn't change, or if things escalate, she may file for separation. Her priority is keeping the kids safe, financially and otherwise." That hit me harder than I expected. Kelly had always struck me as the loyal type, the one who'd stand by Jacob no matter what. But if even she was considering walking away, that told me just how bad things had gotten. I left the office feeling conflicted. Anger, guilt, sadness, they all swirled together. But beneath it all, there was something else too. Relief. For the first time in years, I wasn't carrying Jacob's weight. And now that I knew the truth, one thing was certain: he would never manipulate me again. After I left the lawyer's office, I couldn't stop replaying everything I'd just learned: the gambling, the secret account, Kelly quietly preparing her exit. It felt less like my life and more like some over-the-top drama series. Only difference? This was my family, and I was right in the middle of it. For the next few days, I kept my distance. I didn't call my parents, and I sure as hell didn't reach out to Jacob. But apparently, the silence got to him, because one evening, just as I sat down with a plate of food, my phone lit up with his name. I almost let it ring out. Almost. But something told me to answer. "What do you want, Jacob?" I said flatly. His voice came through tight, almost panicked. "We need to talk. You said something to Kelly, didn't you?" I raised an eyebrow, even though he couldn't see it. "What are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb," he snapped. "She's been acting weird since Christmas. Now she's throwing around words like lawyers and separation. I know you've been putting ideas in her head." I laughed, sharp and bitter. "You think I'm the problem? You're the one who lied to her. You're the one who hid money, gambled it away. If she's finally tired of your crap, that's on you, not me." Silence. For a second, I thought he hung up. Then he muttered, "You don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, I think I do," I cut in, my anger boiling over. "Kelly told me everything. The secret account, the gambling, the way you've been burning through money while I've been breaking my back to keep you afloat. You're a joke, Jacob." He started to yell, but I didn't give him the chance. "Listen to me. You've used me for the last time. I'm done helping you. I'm done covering for you. If Kelly leaves you, that's on you. And if you try to drag me back into your mess, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what you've been up to." And then I hung up. My hands were shaking, but God, it felt good to finally unload years of resentment in one go. The fallout came quick. The next day, Kelly called. "Did Jacob call you?" she asked, her voice soft, almost careful. "Yeah," I said. "He wasn't happy. Did something happen?" She hesitated. I confronted him about the gambling, the hidden account. He admitted some of it, but he's trying to downplay it. Like it's nothing. "Are you okay?" I asked. "I'm fine," she said, though she didn't sound it. Then her voice cracked just slightly. "But I'm tired. I'm tired of making excuses for him. The kids deserve better." Hearing her say that, it hit me. This wasn't just cracks in their marriage anymore, this was the foundation collapsing. "Whatever you decide to do, you've got my support," I told her. "Thank you," she whispered. "And I'm sorry. For Christmas. For everything. You didn't deserve that. I should have said something sooner." We talked for a while, and when we hung up, I felt a strange mix of things. Jacob had burned every bridge with me, but Kelly and the kids? They weren't my enemies. If she was finally brave enough to stand up to him, I wasn't going to hold a grudge. Still, I had this nagging feeling Jacob wasn't done stirring trouble. Weeks later, I got a text from Kelly. Just 3 words: "We're leaving today." I called her immediately. She explained in a rush, she and the kids were packing up and moving to another state while Jacob was away on yet another so-called business trip. Which, let's be honest, was probably just code for another gambling binge. She'd hired movers, packed everything, and was leaving before he even knew what hit him. "I just couldn't stay any longer," she said quietly. "I can't keep pretending this is normal." "What about rent? The bills?" I asked. There was a pause. "I was hoping you could help me. Just for a little while. I hate to even ask, but..." "Say no more," I cut her off. "I'll cover it." And you know what? I did. For the first time in years, it didn't feel like I was being used. It felt like I was finally helping the right people. As expected, Jacob went ballistic when he came home to an empty house. He called me, screaming, ranting about how I'd turned Kelly against him, how I'd ruined his life. I let him vent for a minute before calmly saying, "Maybe if you'd spent less time gambling and more time being a husband and a father, you wouldn't be in this situation. But hey, good luck with that." Then I hung up. And that was the last real conversation we had. Kelly's doing well now. She found steady work, the kids are adjusting to their new school, and for the first time in years, she sounds like she's in control of her life. As for Jacob? From what I hear, he's still pointing fingers at everyone but himself. But you know what? That's not my problem anymore. So yeah, I guess you could call this a happy ending. Or at least, the closest thing to one I'm going to get.